Welcome back to the Fresh Rental, where we spotlight the voices shaping the rental world.
Today's guest is Ty, General Manager at All About Events in Jacksonville.
I've been leading at All About Events for almost a year now. I know from experience, a little over a year in, you've got a lot of stories to tell. So, Ty, tell us your story. How'd you land at All About Events?
Anybody who knows me in the Jacksonville area, they know I care more about people than money and stuff like that. The company had been just recovering from the fire. So an Indeed ad popped up to be a sales manager here. So I just said, why not? I clicked on it to apply, and I had a really good conversation with the owner here, Jeff. From there, I said, I want to be a part of the rebuilds. I think my skill set will help get us to the next level here. That's how I got.
And now talking about what were you doing before this role and like what made you jump into rentals, just like jumping and handling everything from scratch. And if you can tell me a little about your history and then why did you jump into rentals?
Yeah. So for me, it was more of a combination of just my background. So right before I came here, I was an entrepreneur. So I owned 4 different fast food restaurants and a moving corporate as a sales manager. So for me, I was like, well, the moving company part, we have trucks, we have forklifts. I'm used to that. Sales, I was doing staffing sales. So people, personnel, different bodies, so I just said, well, I don't know anything about rentals specifically, but I think I can manage everything else. And then I'll just learn the rental part of it as I go.
What was the biggest learning of the entrepreneurial journey as you jumped into the rental business?
It actually was pretty smooth because it's the same concept. You have good people and then a product or a service that the customers really want. And that's something that I had already learned from like the franchise industry. So this was pretty as seamless as it could get for me from that standpoint.
I was going to have that rental aspect you said, but moving company, dealing with guys at fast food, that's a big one. And then sales, like, that's three for three. So I guess you moved into the sales, but then what was that challenge? What was that biggest hurdle going from that to then the GM, which you are today?
So the biggest thing I noticed was just trying to revamp people's motivation and their mindsets. With the fire, we lost the previous building. So we moved to a new building, which is more expensive, more room, more hurdles, and a lot of people were stuck in the mud. They were only thinking of All About Events from 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Nobody was really thinking of where the future could take us. It was just, we can't do that, Ty. We're so used to doing this. Jeff would never allow us to do that. We can only do this. And I'm thinking,
We've always
we
done it this way.
right. We've always done it like this. Where everything you're saying is new to us. And I'm like, well, just trust me and we can do this. But that was the hardest part, was taking people who were here much longer than say 2 years and just trying them on board with the new process and comfortable.
What's your biggest advice for someone that's stepping into like a GM role and their mindset's a little different and they want to change people's minds around how they do stuff? Like, how would you advise them to start doing those changes?
I would say the first step you have to do, which is no question about it, is earn the respect of those people who have been here first. You can never say the way you used to do it is wrong because you don't know, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, that's how you used to do it, and I'm fine with doing that. But if efficiency is the goal, I can do that same thing, but by doing it like this. Let's both, and then you tell me which one's easier for you. And that's pretty much how we've been operating, even with Jeff, the owner. 15 years he's owned this place, but it doesn't mean he's not willing to learn something new. I'm a newer voice, so sometimes he says, I never thought about that, Ty. Okay, we can start doing it like that.
Coming from another industry completely, what was that moment when you thought, okay, I get it now. I belong in this industry. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so it happened. I've been the GM since February. So by March, which is a short time, Jeff, the owner, went on a 1 month like honeymoon. Ty, my phone is on do not disturb. You got this, right? And at that moment, I'm like, yeah, I have no choice. What it taught me in that moment was he wasn't so accessible for me. So now I am like the mini owner for that month. Everything that goes on in this building is coming through me, whether it's good or bad. So that was like a literal push me off the cliff. I got to sink or swim type of moment. But I enjoyed it though, because it showed me that, hey, I can handle this and I can run this thing when he needs me to.
That's too funny. It was the first Germany flight out of Tampa, and his wife was working at a magazine, and they got a flight over to Germany. And so, literally a month in, he was like, "All right, here you go. Good luck."
Yeah.
He handed it over to you?
But yeah, it was basically like, "Here, you got a month in, so at least you had a little bit more time before GM." But that's too funny. Those two
Right.
are just alike.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, you got him stuck out of the mud. You got the respect. So now what's left? Like, what's a typical day as GM, all about events? What are you doing day to day?
Okay, so for me, everybody, if you ask anybody here, they can tell you when I first get here every morning, the first thing I do is I walk the whole location. I want to say hey to everybody who's here. And I'm a fist pump guy, so all you'll see is me, fist pump everybody, because sometimes people get so robotic in their job. And I've never been a person who wanted my title to put fear into people when I'm just coming to say good morning. So everyone's comfortable, like, oh, Ty handles his business, but he's very approachable. So I go around, I speak to everybody, every department, and then I jump right into what are the hurdles for today, and if you have a solution for it. And this is me talking to like the management team. What are we running into? But have you already thought about how you want to fix it? And if I agree with it, or we agree with it as a group, then from there, I can start working on strategy. So that's what I do every day when I get here. Once we get over that first initial hour or two of fixing hurdles from the night before or that day, then from there, it's just me spending a little time with each department, just seeing what they need. If anybody's heard anything on the internet or anything like that, something we might need to buy, anything I can do on ARA. I'm always learning as far as tents and stuff, because I'm still new to that part. So looking at pieces of tents, structures, Ralph, I need help with that kind of stuff. But just,
Coming
it's
up next week.
always next week. So I'm always looking to just keep doing something. I'm not a desk guy who just sits at the computer all day. I think that pays off for me, because everybody who works here knows that means I have their back and I'm willing to help them. All they have to do is ask.
This question might start some fires depending on who you ask, but how approachable can you actually be as a GM? Like, are you actually friends? Are you like strict in some ways and in others not? Like, can you tell me a little about that? Because some managers always struggle with that sort of thing. Like, until what point does the trust go?
Especially young managers. Like a GM role is always going to have the same challenge, and is how close can I be to my people?
Right.
Exactly.
So for me, I have a line of friend versus manager, so there we're not going to get loose with the conversations and stuff like that. But as far as being approachable to me, it's just about the respect. If I'm too aggressive, you've pushed people out the door and they quit, right? So in this type of industry, it's hard to find people who can put up a 50 wide tent, if they start it tomorrow. So it's really, hey, I know you passed at least 20 places this morning before you came here. So let me make it worthwhile for you. But on the flip side, make it worthwhile for me to just show up and do your job. Everybody's here. Everybody here is an adult. So I don't treat anyone like a kid. So I think with me personally, they like that approach that I say, hey, I know what you're here to do. So you get that done and I won't bother you. But if there's something I have to ask you, I'm going to ask you, but I'm not going to throw my title into it. It's, hey, guys, where are we headed with this tent? We're an hour behind. What's going on? I never belittle people, because you never know what a person's going through that day. So I always approach everybody the same. Hey, what's going on? You need help? And then they do the same with me. It's just all about respect. And it has to go both ways, though. I won't let anybody disrespect me, but I definitely won't disrespect anybody else here.
Ralph, what are your thoughts on that? How can you be approachable but kind of find that midpoint between being approachable and being a respectable leader?
No, he hit it on the head. It is a fine line. Every day you still try to figure it out. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and some things have worked, some things I've learned from. I'm closer to others than some other workers. It's just all about respect. Everybody can't be your best friend, but they can be somebody you respect. You can be somebody they respect. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're all striving for the same thing. You want to give the customer the best product. You want to do the best you can for you, and you want to make your family proud. You want to get home to your family. So we're all working on guides. It's just what we're doing. And I think, once your employees know that, and once you can, let them know that you're thinking the same thing. It goes a long way. As the years go by, and you have the same people on, you get closer. I think doing some of the little things in the workplace help with that too. You don't have to be best friends, going to get drinks or going for dinner every week, but we have a fantasy football league where, guys will text on the side about football. That's been a fun thing we've been doing. You get trash talk at work before the day starts, talk about who traded what to where, and that's a good thing. But then when the work starts, and it doesn't matter if you just gave me a good guy. I need to know that you're doing the job, and I'm doing the job for you.
That's awesome. And I think that's some great advice for some young EMs that are just stepping into roles like that. Now, I want to go back, Ty, to this year and a half that you've been with All About Events. I'm sure that being new in the job and stuff, you must have seen some crazy stuff, like some crazy jobs, some crazy requests, and that sort of thing. Like, what's one story that stands out, even if it's good or bad?
Well, this one, it might be both. So this was on September 15th. So a couple of weeks ago, we got this job that we turned it down 4 different ways. They were requesting it from us, but then one of our vendor partners actually got the job and they sub-rented through us, and it's on a Navy battleship. So I told them I have to be a part of this one. Like, just put me on the truck. I'm going. I'm definitely going. So we get there at 6 a.m. It takes us 2 hours to even get onto the ship. We go through 3 security checkpoints to make sure we don't have weapons, all that good stuff, right? But then when we get to the ship, there's a guy with a sniper rifle, like pointing it right at us on the top of the ship. And we're like, we went through all the checkpoints. We're just here to put a tent up. We're not here to, take over. So we do that. And we say, where do you want the tent? And they say, no, we want it on the top of the battleship. Well, how do we get up there? Got to hand walk everything through the ship itself and up to the top. Windy day.
How
They
big
want a
was the
40
tent?
by the wind itself is
Jeez.
picking the tent up. Every time we try to place a pole or a top, the wind is just literally lifting us. And I weigh over 200 pounds, and it was lifting me up off the ground like it was nothing. And we had to request help from the sailors. So we got over 50 sailors to come, and everybody just kind of putting hands on the tent so we can even put this thing in the air. The captain of the ship, he's stone-faced guy. He's talking about, how the military flies helicopters there. So if we scratch any piece of it, he's going to have us arrested. You know what I mean? All this type of stuff. And I'm like, well, sir, the wind is blowing so hard, it's going to scratch up some of it. We can't control it. He's stone-faced the whole time. But after about 9 hours, we finally get this tent that we can do on a non-windy day in about 2.5 hours, right? 2-3 hours, something like that. But it was just wild to me that we got there and it was just intense the whole way through. The guns, I can't even sleep at night from that. The guy who had the gun pointed, I asked him because he switched shifts while we were there, and I said, "Is that all you do all day? Just point guns?" He's like, "Yep. I just have to point guns in this direction all day for 12 hours, whether there's a threat or not." So I'll never forget that job because I was there, and it was 7 guys with me. But what I learned from it too is by me being there as a GM, they know I'm salary and they're hourly. So for me to volunteer to go with them, knowing I didn't have to go, that meant a lot for them. So they worked a little harder because I'm right there dealing with the guns and the wind, like right with the staff. So they really felt like I was a part of the team with them that day, for sure.
So you think it's key to be like shoulder to shoulder with your people, like literally on the job?
Oh yeah, it's very easy to play the I'm the GM role, but it's just like anything else. If you've ever played a sport, you can coach the team, but the team won't respect you unless you do something that shows them that you've been here before or something like that. It's very easy to just bark orders. But I'm not that type of leader because you don't get buy-in like that. So for me to be carrying pipes one by one with the team for 9 hours straight on a Saturday, they're like, okay, we support Ty a little bit more. The ones who already respected me, it just increased it, higher as well.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's a crazy story
Yeah,
right there
it
on the battleship.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Actually, our next question was gonna be like, what's the funniest or weirdest thing that you've seen on a job?
Getting a sniper pointing at you is definitely the
Yeah.
craziest story that I've heard on the rental industry.
Yeah,
One
and
has-
again, to follow that, it was going to be your proudest moment leading the team. So that's got to be up there too. Or do you have any other things that would make you as proud as that moment?
Yeah, so when Jeff went out on his honeymoon, it coincided with this track meet that we get in Jacksonville every 2 years. All of the Division 1 track stars come down to Jacksonville to a college here called University of North Florida. It's hundreds of schools, and they rent their tents from us. Normally, the head of that school only works with Jeff. He doesn't want to work with anybody else because nobody else can put these orders together, and the logistics of it is just a nightmare because they pretty much rent everything we have. So of course, while Jeff's out, hey Ty, I need you to take care of it this time. So I go out there, I meet with the guy, and he says, I hope you drink a lot of water and you eat your Wheaties because you're gonna need it. So I'm like, oh man. So I got him talking to me like that. I got Jeff enjoying his time off. And then I have a bunch of new people who had just came into the company at the same time. But I rarely show like emotion. So I just took it as I have no choice but to make sure this goes successful. Reputation is everything to me. So we did over 125K tents for 100 schools. It went successful. And the reason why I'm proud about it is because the contact for that school reached out to Jeff directly when he came back and says, hey, this guy Ty is the real deal. He's a good person. You've never had a leader in the 15 years that I've been doing business with you guys. You've never had a GM who could handle this account like that or just be that professional. So for him to tell Jeff that, and then for Jeff to share that with me, that was definitely a proud moment because I was nervous about it, but I did give it my best effort. So to see it come to light like that at the end, it was something that I just love to death.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's a huge feather in the cap. I mean, to have that kind of praise, from somebody like that. So, man, just hats off. So, I mean, all right, so you became the GM, knocked out the track and field championships, knocked out the U.S. Navy base, knocked out a 15-year anniversary. Shout out All About Events, 15 years. So, where are you headed? What's next? What are you excited about for the future of All About Events?
So I'm excited about the growth on both ends. When I came in, thinking, say, a little bit over 4 million was sort of the norm. So to get to 4.5 was like, maybe we can do that in 2028 or something like that. But as of right now, we're pacing to be over 5 million. So over, $1 million jump from last
Wow.
year. But when you feel the excitement from the staff, the hunger, like the sales team is looking to look for that next big thing. For me, it's the growth with All About Events, of course, but also with the city. Jacksonville, the football team here, the Jaguars, are getting a brand new stadium. So I'm thinking about all the things that we can do for them and that area that they're redeveloping in the next coming years. So just Jacksonville's growing, hopefully we can get our sales team growing. We've been under 50 people since I've been here, but my goal is to get us to say 75 people. Just keep growing this thing, outgrow this building and go find something even bigger because the sky's the limit as far as I can see.
That's awesome. And it's great how you've been talking a lot about change and growth and that sort of thing. So I just have a question. If you can make like one change on how event rentals operate today, what would it be?
Getting back to the basics of what we do it for, which is for the people. If it's a person getting married, you hope that's the only time you'll do their marriage or their wedding, I should say. So you
Yeah.
don't want to mess it up, but then you want to grow with that person. So we did your wedding, but then you get a baby. We did your baby shower. That baby turns 18. We did their graduation party. You sort of want to do every event for that person. But some of our partners, I won't name the companies, but some of them have turned it more into the dollars and not about the people.
Yeah.
That's all they hear is the items. They don't hear what it's for. They just revenue, which is easy to get caught up into that. But when they tell us it's a bar mitzvah or a graduation from kindergarten or something like that, you want to pay a little extra attention to the quality that's going out, depending. You're always promoting your business no matter where you send your items. But just remember, some people, it's a funeral. This is their last impression of their grandma. So you want the items to be clean and show respect. So just put the people at the front of your mind before you put these orders together. It's not always just about the money. It's about the satisfaction and making that person's dream like come to life when they call here. And that's my goal for us, to just always stay humble enough to know what got us here from year 1 to year 15.
And it's all about the relationship. I mean, long-term relationship.
Yep.
As you said, if you're taking over the whole life cycle, like from the beginning, from the baby shower up to their funeral, hopefully you have a lot of events that you can manage for them, and you can build that relationship, that friendship with those clients. You can really take care of each of those important events on their lives, and all those milestones that they're going to accomplish during their life.
100%. Yep.
Where do you see the next generation of event rental pros, including yourself, taking the industry in the coming years?
Oh man, with how social media is going and the trends on TikTok and stuff like that, I honestly see it going wherever it wants to go. Honestly, I think the biggest hurdle would be just being able to keep up, because people are so creative now that aren't even in the industry. It forces us, the industry leaders, to have to find a way to compete with those creative minds. But if we can blend the two, I just think we could take this thing as far as we all want to go, honestly.
So it's
That's
about
true.
creativity.
Yeah, creativity is key, because we're doing stuff that maybe 4 years ago no one would even have thought about, but now it's becoming routine, like putting dance floors over the top of hotel pools and stuff like that. These are things that people typically didn't want to do. Now it's normal because a lot of people are doing it now. You can never just stay stagnant at all. You have to always be evolving, for sure.
Just another wonderful part of social media. A bride sees it on Instagram or TikTok, and it's like, hey, can you do this?
Yep.
And you don't want to say no. So you want to say, let me figure it out.
Exactly.
All right, Ty, now come to the part of the show. Hit everybody with the lightning round. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Quick questions for you, quick answers. Last song you played in your truck.
Morgan Wallen, Miami.
All right. Current binge-worthy show.
I'm a car guy, so I watch Rust to Riches on Netflix.
Okay. Check that out. All right. Fast food franchise owner. So Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, or McDonald's. What's your go-to order?
Taco Bell, 3 Doritos Locos Tacos, hot sauce, 2 orders of cinnamon twist, and a Baja Blast.
Favorite rental tool, trick, or hack that you swear by?
I don't have any hacks yet. I haven't learned any so everything.
You're going to stay tuned to this to learn more hacks, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Finally, one person in rental you want to challenge me on the podcast next.
My man, Lil Gary. I would love to see him on here.
All right, Austin, you heard him. Hey, Ty, thanks so much. I know you do it on the way in from work, but I'm going to fist pound you on the way out of this podcast today. We really appreciate you coming by. Already so much in your year and a half, tons of stories, and I'm sure there'll be tons more. So, we'll catch you on the way out the road and see what other things you learn in the next 15 years or so of all about events.
And that's what makes this industry so unique. Every day is so different. So we're
yeah.
going to have more stories to tell.
I agree.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, everyone. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Fresh Rental. Thank you, Ty.